Hello and welcome to the RoH Podcast, Episode 5. As always, I am Caden, and joining me this week on the show for all your RoH and Zelda needs are my revolving door of cohorts, comrades, and colleagues. The Mana Bear of RoH.
Hi.
The high-pitched voice in your head, Satsuriku.
Go fuck yourself.
And the newest scribe on the council, Livi.
Hello.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Gotta love it.
Now, before we get to the creamy, nougaty center of this podcast, I would like to remind everyone to vote for us on top RP sites. We are down 50 votes from 15th place and off the first page. I can't believe it.
I mean, if I really want to, and I don't, but if I did, I could find out which one of you it is that isn't voting anymore and kick your asses.
I'm pretty sure there's also shenanigans going on with everybody else voting, but I will digress from that.
Shh, that's not the point I'm trying to make.
I know. Now, if you're not sure how to vote, there is a nice little golden Triforce at the top of the page that, if you click it, will send you there. There's also a banner at the bottom of the page that I believe Skylar put in because she made a point of it one time, and I'm always making sure to mention it from now on because it's there and I will forget otherwise. Click any of those places, you'll be able to vote. Let's get to the first page. We've had a couple of major announcements the past week, aside from RoH 7 being announced. Some of these sub-announcements have been a part of that, but the first one I'm going to talk about isn't. As many of you may be aware, we have a new scribe on the council. I think I mentioned it when I made the introduction. Livi.
Hi.
What you got for us?
Am I supposed to say
That's
something?
Well, how does it feel being on the council?
I feel special. Loved,
I mean-
you know?
I don't know about that, but we already put you to work today, so I mean...
Oh, yeah. I was being really efficient.
Yeah, you were doing the work none of us wanted to do. Thumbs up.
Come on.
Well, you're the
I
newbie.
mean-
The newbie always does all the big, heavy lifting. I mean, let's be
Not
honest. What?
Not true.
Yeah.
I did it on both 4 and 5. 4 and 5.
Well,
I must have missed that train.
that's because you're extra special, Satsuriku. That's why you did it.
You know what?
What?
Michelle did it on both 5 and 6 as well, so ha.
Well, maybe y'all are special together. I don't know.
Nah.
Livy's now on the council. She's doing all the heavy lifting because child labor laws.
Yes.
They don't.
Because
Yes.
They don't exist.
Because hazing. Let's be fair here.
Yes. Anyway, make sure everyone gives her a nice welcome and warm round of applause. Speaking of council movements, Mana has been promoted up to head scribe, the second of head scribes, which is, I think, a first on RoH. I'm not too sure, but I think that is the first time we've had two of them. Mana,
Negatory, good sir.
no, this has happened before.
Yes, at the very, very start. The head scribe position was evenly split between me and... I'm trying to remember what his username was.
Probably Richard Brandstone.
Yeah, at the start it was Richard, you're right. Yeah.
Or Kelsier.
Yeah. No, it was still Richard because it's at the very start.
Okay.
And he was still using his RoH 4 character. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I was
At
not
the very start, we were always supposed to be... it was designed as a two-player position so that both Aaron and Will had a personal slave.
Jeez.
Would it be sex
Yeah.
slave or regular slave? Because that makes a big difference.
I mean, with both Aaron and Will, the jury's up in the air.
I see that. Well, Mana, how do you like being...
I didn't sign up for that. I'll say that right now.
Oh, may Cthulhu have mercy on your soul.
Well, I would have to have a soul first.
Very true.
Very true. So, Mana, how does it feel being head scribe?
I don't know. It's just a position. Nothing fancy.
So
I
you're
get a little more say. Let's just say that.
So you're saying
See-
this position excites you, huh?
I'm not even walking into that one.
You said it.
Oy vey. But yeah, Mana, I mean, all being a head scribe really means is you get to tell other people what to do now.
Oh, I'm pretty good at that, usually.
Yeah. You can just be bossy and do absolutely nothing all day.
Sweet, I like this job already.
Right? It's a good job to have.
Very good job.
Now, if only I got paid for it, it'd be the best job.
Yes, tell me about it.
Come on now. Come on now. Let's not break some law of time and space.
Alright, fine.
Alright, moving on. As far as other announcements go, earlier today, Kuroku updated the new leadership rules topic to note that the King of Hyrule on Alright 7, which we have named Daltus D. Hyrule, no points if you get the reference, and negative points if you know what the D stands for, is going to be
Damn it.
is going to be an NPC controlled by us, the Council, and probably won't appear much in RP aside from large festivals or any major need, which probably won't happen that much. Instead, an RP group of advisors, not unlike the Circle of Eight, will be the ones ruling Hyrule both in RP and out of character. How do you guys think this will affect things going forward on 7?
I mean, I know it's new on 7, new with quotation marks, but historically, halfway through this version is the first time we've ever allowed the king to actually be interacted with one-on-one. That was the reason Logain wasn't the king at the start. He was just the regent. We wouldn't allow a player king.
Right. And
so
prior to this ROH, I don't even think we did much with the king or a Zelda.
I mean, no, not with Zelda, because she was completely off limits. We also were in a very different world. We were in Adventure of Link.
Right. Except for 5, Twilight Princess, but we don't mention that.
But yeah. I mean, we tried giving it a shot, and there was a discussion at length earlier today and over the past week about this, and it was just kind of decided that it's not the potential benefits that come from having that position player-led isn't ideal and creates more problems than it creates benefits.
Right. And another thing is if you are the king, you're kind of stuck in the palace, which hopefully the Palace of 7 will not be like the Palace of 6 and be a black hole of activity, but there is a good idea that it might be, right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's that all depends on what people do at the end of the day. That all still depends entirely on individuals and what they decide to do.
Now, that being said, the leadership perk is still going to be used for the council. That is going to be pretty much ruling RoH or Hyrule now in RP. If you do want to have a position there, make sure you have that perk and have a character set for it.
Honestly, like, I know a lot of people thought I had kind of an opinion towards having the king as a player. Like, I think it would be a nice idea, but seeing how it has let out, how many people we've been basically screwed over with not having a leadership, it works better having it as an NPC. They can stay within the castle, and you don't have to, like, basically dictate what they're doing all the time. It is a better position for players and members in general. You don't have to deal with the king, but you know he's there. It has so much more potential just to be an NPC character.
Livy, how do you feel in general about all this stuff that's been going on?
I think it's a good idea to NPC it. I feel like, I don't know, playing a king might get a little boring, really, because, like, honestly, what does the king do all day aside from, I don't know, I don't feel like he has all that much to do. So, like, and then you can't just retire a king if you get bored of playing a king.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I think this is pretty much a better course of action. I was kind of for an idea for an NPC king when it first came up, and I'm kind of glad we're going that route now instead of potentially bad things happening with a RP character there. But
Yeah. Although I did want to clarify that it seems like I've seen people talk about it and have misunderstood the intent here. It is currently going to be an NPC king, but I believe it is, even in the announcement, explicitly stated that if things develop later on down the line where a player necessarily needs to take over or does take the title, then that will be dealt with and probably accepted as it comes. We're not saying no, it's never happening. We're starting the train slow. We're not starting with King Baconface.
and believe me, that's a good thing. Any more thoughts on this from anyone?
No.
The only other thing I am a little curious about, we mentioned the king, but how will things develop in Termina with the mayor?
If I remember the discussion correctly, it was just because there's all this red tape that needs to be dealt with as King of Hyrule explicitly. That one title comes with all this baggage. I mean, I could be wrong. Mana? Livi?
I don't know. Honestly, like, I wouldn't think that a mayor should have the same restrictions as the king. Because as you said,
Right.
There's way bigger difference between the mayor and the king, right? At least the mayor has the opportunity to go out and socialize and be active. The king doesn't. He sits on his royal throne and that's it.
Royal throne not being his toilet, right?
Depends who you're talking about. If we're talking about High King Zane, then I don't know. I don't know. I'm for somebody playing the mayor. I mean, wasn't Aaron like the mayor from the start of 6?
No, he requested it early on. He was just a pimp at the start. I remember this very well.
Oh, yeah.
Every other leadership position is remaining the same.
Okay.
Yeah, I think even the Zora King/Queen is remaining the same.
There's a Zora King?
I don't know if anyone's put in a ticket for that yet, so
not yet. I mean,
thank you.
Yeah, it's
Sharky's not around, so that position's wide open. All right, we did get a question right before we started recording that kind of does sink in with this. I will read it real quick. As there will apparently be a dedicated group of royalty, etc., will they be able to make sweeping in-character policy decisions? Will they be able to decree new laws, set taxes, expand on existing laws within the kingdom, set tariffs on imported goods, raise levies, conscription, essentially, place sanctions on exported goods and factions within their domain, etc.? As I understand it, politics is less than enjoyed by much of the user base. But these kinds of things tend to have far-reaching consequences, even with the slightest changes. Nobles' coffers are drained, citizens are drafted, and goods are taxed.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't say any of that should be in-character decisions. I mean, it could be, but I think the ticket system would have to be in works with it to get it to a point of agreement, because doing that by themselves, there could be so much shit that just blows up.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I would assume with the group advisors, they would have to come up with some sort of idea in the first place, then send it along to us to kind of look over it and see if we can do it and such.
Yeah.
So
that would be the only way I'd ever accept that. It'd have to be coming through council, because if they just made it in character, I could just see the insanity that could ensue.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also the fact, will people even care or pay attention? You could have any given leader say X or Y, but it happens often where people just don't pay attention to what everyone else is doing or choose to ignore it.
I mean, I feel like these are the kinds of things that if they actually play an important role with the rest of RP, you kind of need to announce it to the whole site. Otherwise, I don't feel like it actually matters all that much.
Having that leadership position definitely gives you an advantage over most other people in getting things done. Like you do have the right to plan it out and start working on it and submit the ticket with the expectation that as long as it's well thought out and it's not a harebrained idea in the first place, it'll get it approved. I mean, being leader does give you that ability. So, I mean, they can, but yeah, what Mana said. I thought of tickets.
More or less. And there was a third part related to this question, which kind of not related, but along that same line, will there be an expanded criminal element within the revised setting, or will that be mostly left up to the players? You kind of answered your own question there. It will probably be left up to the players, because...
no, we're doing something about that, aren't we? We haven't announced it yet, but we are doing more about how stealth and wanted and criminals are dealt with.
Well, wanted, yeah, but I just thought criminal, like more of a criminal element to things. Like,
yeah,
I was assuming he meant like a mafia or.
Well, let's for example, if there is an encounter where a character does something that would make them wanted, you can put that ticket in, talk to that other individual, and if they get wanted in that city, whatever, then these new rules will apply to them. So, yes and no. There is a new system, but
we don't have everything.
Require players. Yeah,
we don't have everything ironed out yet.
Yeah.
Hence why it hasn't been announced. Any last thoughts before we move on to the next topic? All right. Another announcement that was made today was the changes to side quest and milestone XP bonuses. Juan, would you like to detail what we've got going on there?
Well, it's been it's no secret that I've been trying to deal with certain automation stuff in the back for a while now, and so when people started talking about this, I got involved. Yeah, so we're just changing around. Apparently right now, the way the system is set up, if you transfer posts from character A to character B, and character A had the milestone bonuses, which is 30 at, I think, 100, 230, random ass numbers, those bonus points don't transfer, correct? Or those bonus posts don't transfer.
I believe so.
That's my understanding of it.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was making people upset, and all sorts of other problems, and it was just a pain to keep track of for the council. So we just said, screw it. It's just flat bonus XP dealt with much in the same way we deal with Mortal or Quest experience right now, which we are actually getting rid of in 7. No Quest XP in 7. Do you want to talk about that, Mana?
We'll talk about what?
The side quest, losing the XP bonuses.
I am totally not the person to be asking about that. I'm not, I have nothing to do with the BS system or side quests. I do them. I can maybe complete them. I don't care.
Right.
I have no issue with the side quests losing EXP, honestly. It's a better way for people to stop abusing the system.
Right, so let me actually ask you that question then. As someone who uses it a lot, would you say that it takes away from the focus on the RP if it gives you direct XP benefits in DRP from the side quests?
It does, and it doesn't. It goes both ways. I mean, if you're going to be doing a quest and you're just doing it for the EXP to abuse it to get stronger in RP, then screw that. But, I don't know. It kind of goes one hand in the other. Each person to their own. If they want to get benefits from it, whatever. If they don't, same thing, whatever.
Yeah. Well, it was also being harder to keep track of quest experience. Yeah. It was largely I don't think we have a centralized method of dealing with quest experience right now.
I don't think so.
No.
Right. So it's not needing to track that and just instead giving people different options. I was not aware that stage stones were so important at certain points and so useful and so hard to come by. So the other argument is that they're still getting a benefit with sage stones, just of a different kind, where we can still say the majority of experience and thus ability comes from a person's involvement in the RP. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Talking to a wall here.
Maybe a little bit you are, maybe not. I admit I don't really follow a lot of this because my eyes start to glaze over and I start thinking of other things. And
I kind of do the same thing, honestly. I mean, I know it's important, but at the same time, it's just like, don't care. Just give me my reward. Don't care.
Yeah, I mean, it's still important to a lot of people out there. I know people count experience and do quests for the experience and refuse to do others because they don't give experience.
Right.
So, last week, someone asked, will there be a lot of changes to the battle system? We said a tentative no.
tentatively, things change.
Things have changed, yes. As we get closer to a go live date, has anyone here actually read the battle system? Like, actually tried reading posts?
I have. That is just no. No.
Yeah. Will and I wrote it about 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, originally. And there was always the intention of going back to it and clarifying and cleaning it up. 4 years later, no such thing happened.
Yeah, that thing is a mess. It is so bad.
Yeah.
Because I think I started reading it when I was training for my BS. I was like, what the hell is this shit?
Yeah.
Just said, screw it.
It's a dirty Sanchez of stuff.
I mean, just as a heads up, anything I wrote at the start of RoH 6, I was drunk when I wrote it.
We couldn't tell.
I mean...
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, meh. But we always had the intention of getting back to it, so we're getting back to it now. We have found things that most people accepted or we knew were rules, but were never written down. So we're going to see those announced as changes or maybe not. Just be aware that things that people have been asking a lot of questions about and we're never sure about, we're hammering out. We are hammering out the wording on it in general just to make it more legible. Organization, definitely organization. And we're also taking this opportunity to tweak some things that have needed to be tweaked for a while. I think we're doing some stuff with a couple perks.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, I've been glancing over that. I think a few flaws, a couple of perks are being touched on and revamped. Yeah.
There's some tweaking, some touching up going on, some reorganizing. So it will probably look significantly different. At least the guide will. It's not going to be too different still, but there will be changes now, and we will let you know as these get ironed out. So nothing should catch anyone off guard. If you are active in the system, everything will still work the way you know it to. Everyone else will just understand that too.
And that all works for me. Any questions from anybody? Any comments?
Livy, you don't use the battle system very much, do you?
I do. What are you talking about?
You do.
I do.
So what do you have to say about changes and
I have
things?
nothing. I have nothing to say.
For example, did you know you could use a shield without any weapons?
I don't use shields. Shields are overrated.
Okay then.
I have no words for you right now. So, I have no words.
Well, I think that probably covers everything. I think we can move on to the next topic, away from RoH, kind of get our heads out of that, and move on to general Zelda topics. Now, before we started recording, Mana enlightened us about something we talked about a few weeks ago, and Mana, would you like to say it here?
Well, as you said, we talked about this a few weeks ago about how Netflix was supposedly bringing out like this Zelda series. It's actually not true. So that's kind of good for me because I was not for it in the general. Yes, it is completely... I mean, they're still planning on releasing a series, but it's actually not through Netflix, and they're not saying whom they're doing it through. But the whole thing is a total lie, and proves another fact that you can't believe everything on the internet.
That just seems impossible. I mean, just the other day...
I know!
I talked to this Nigerian prince that had money for me. Are you saying it was possibly false?
Maybe. Maybe you should find out.
I probably should. But I'm on this topic. I am a little surprised that. Well, I'm not really surprised that it was false, but I mean, I'm still a little surprised that there was a little falsehoods to it. I kind of figured we might be seeing something.
I don't want to see anything.
Well, I kind of do.
I'm the same.
Have you guys, any of you guys seen the clips from the old Zelda series?
I've watched.
I've seen some of it. Yes.
God, please no.
I haven't seen any of it, but one of my friends showed me the just.
Excuse
Yes. Oh,
princess. Yeah. Yeah. No. There's been a lot of attempts by different people to do Zelda-related things, and every time it just fails in the most spectacular ways. So,
That's with anything, though. When you take an like we talked about this on the last one, anything you take animation and you bring it to live action, dear God, why?
yeah. So, I mean, it just needs to be left well enough alone. We haven't had a good plot in Zelda for like 10 years, so stop it.
Stay away.
We had Majora's Mask re-released, so you can maybe make a series out of something in that, but just stop. We don't need it.
Yeah, but they like money. Money's their friend, you know.
I mean...
Like, they're gonna stop that.
Yeah, that's true.
As long as they're making their cash, they're never gonna stop, right? Because they're always gonna get people that are gonna buy everything.
Right.
Sad, but true.
It is.
wasn't there like a Skyrim movie or something that was really bad?
What?
No, not to my knowledge.
Unless it was a
Or was
fan
it-
movie?
might have been a
there
fan
was some
movie.
game that had a movie.
Oh, there's a lot of them. Mortal Kombat. Lara Croft movies.
The Tomb Raider, Resident Evil,
Oh my god, Lara Croft movies are so not good.
Alone in the Dark, Blood Rain.
There is.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
the list could go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Games don't translate well to the big screen. Oh, the Prince of Persia movie, that was awful.
Oh,
Oh boy. It is sad that about the best one was Mortal Kombat, and it was mediocre at best.
I mean, yeah. There's a Ghost in the Shell animated live action movie coming out soon that
Isn't like Scarlett Johansson supposed to be like the main character?
yeah, she's
yes.
playing the Major.
Yeah.
So I'm skeptical, but I mean,
And not to mention that long talked about Cowboy Bebop with Keanu Reeves as Spike.
What?
yeah, that's. I'm pretty sure
gross.
that's just urban legend at this point. We
It
know it
better
to be
be.
true. Well, no, it's true. We've seen it, but at the same time,
it's
it's
kinda
gone
like
nowhere in like 4
Development
years.
hell.
Ew.
Yeah,
Wow, there's like 8 million Resident Evil movies.
and
Yeah.
not one of them is any
Yeah.
good.
Nope. Play the games. Resident Evil 6 is better than any of the movies, I'm pretty sure.
You
Okay.
gotta stay the CGI one.
Oh yeah, the CGI one was, you can make an argument there, but the live action, hell no.
Ugh.
Okay, we've kind of stepped a couple of feet away from the Zelda topic. Let's move back here to this week's topic. There's been a lot of Zelda dungeons or temples or areas that we all know and love, but every so often there's one that's just too hard or didn't work or really frustrating. So this week we are talking about our least favorite Zelda dungeons.
And before Water Temple.
God, yeah.
Oh yeah. Actually, I didn't have much of a problem with that one, but that's a different conversation. Livi, would you like to start?
Let's see. Well, I've only finished Twilight Princess, and I kind of only played half of Skyward Sword. I have to say, oh, this is so hard. I don't remember anything.
A lot can be said about those games in that regard.
I don't remember what dungeons I've been. I have to say the hardest dungeon was probably... Oh my god, okay. Hear me out on this, okay? Don't laugh at me. So, Skyview Temple in Skyward Sword, there's this one part, it's such an easy dungeon, but there's this one part where you're supposed to go into this other room. So they give you this stupid-ass riddle, and they tell you absolutely nothing. And it's like, wow, thanks for informing me about something, but no. So I'm, reading this riddle, and it makes no sense whatsoever. And I literally spent, 3 hours in the room trying to find the button to open the freaking door. And then it turns out the button is, in the other room that I was originally in, and I just wasted 3 hours being stupid. So, I have to say that's probably my worst, at least, favorite dungeon.
I never played Skyward Sword. I couldn't get past it.
I haven't played it either, so you're doing a lot better than me.
I don't like the controls of Skyward Sword.
Yeah, I was gonna nominate all of Skyward Sword as my least favorite Zelda dungeon. Because just dealing with those controls is a dungeon by itself.
Oh my god.
And I failed it.
I spent maybe 2 hours on training.
I refused to.
Yeah.
You're better than me.
Yeah. Alright. Who wants to go next?
Mana.
I'm being nominated.
You
Yes,
seem
you
to
are.
be.
Yes.
Well, obvious one is always going to be Ocarina of Time. Stupid freaking water dungeon. Hated that one. I think I spent 2 months on that stupid thing. But, it was painful. Well, I think all the water dungeons.
All the
I just
water
hate all of them.
dungeons. Oh my god, the
Ooh.
Twilight Princess water dungeon was... I followed a walkthrough for the whole thing. I was like, I'm not playing this without a walkthrough.
Water dungeons just suck.
I can honestly say I don't remember the water dungeon in Twilight Princess.
It was round and everything was symmetrical and you couldn't tell where you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not ringing a bell. Then again, it's been about 7 years since I've played Twilight Princess, so...
Twilight Princess was good. It was... Most of the dungeons are okay. I don't remember any of them giving me trouble.
Yeah, they were all pretty easy. I mean, I had trouble with the first one because I was 13 back then and I sucked at playing anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's no excuse.
I died a lot.
That's no excuse. At 13, I was doing speedruns.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on. I have Asian parents. Come on. I don't play games ever. Literally, my only gaming experience was Club Penguin.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Alright. You got a freebie this time.
But Mana, anything else besides the water temple?
Okay, still Ocarina, but the Shadow Temple, actually. I had
Really?
so many issues. I played the game when I was really young, and I got creeped out very easily. The redeads freaked me out, and the stupid hands. The Floor Masters.
Yeah.
So I would actually have nightmares, and I wouldn't play that. I always got, the neighbor from down the street to play it for me instead.
Yeah, I would get my parents to do it for me. Not gonna lie.
It was so creepy. I hated it.
Well, I was never creeped out by the Bottom of the Well or Shadow Temple either.
I was 5 or 6 years old. Shit was terrifying.
I was 10, so... Of course,
that's twice as old as I was when I played it.
Well, to be fair, I'm also the same kid that used to go through haunted houses saying hello to all the monsters, so there's something clearly wrong with me when I was little.
Obviously.
Wait, something wrong with me when I was little? There's still something wrong with me now.
It's just multiplied, Cam.
Yes.
The whole Shadow Temple's horrible. Even the well, the dead hand, creeps me out. It still creeps me out.
Yeah.
Gross thing. No, that was probably the worst temple. Always, and I've only recently beat it on the Ocarina of Time for the 3DS. So that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was made a lot less creepy in that they changed around the textures for it, so it's actually stomachable.
Yeah, it's not so bad anymore. But I still hate the Floor Masters. Stupid things.
Understandable. Juan?
It's a tie between an Ocarina of Time dungeon or a Majora's Mask dungeon. I'll be honest, Lord Jabu Jabu. Not that it was hard. It was just annoying as hell. Between needing to carry Princess What's-Her-Face all over the place.
Frodo.
And needing to deal with the stupid tentacles everywhere. I always raged. It's pretty hard. Still do. Played it a few years ago, like 2 years ago, and it took me a bit to get through it because I just wanted to punch everything.
I can agree with you. That's not one of my favorites in the game. It's probably my least favorite in the entire game would be Lord Jabu Jabu's belly.
Yeah, because I mean, the water temple is annoying, but that's just because it's built in such a way to fuck with your head.
And the iron
once
boots.
You fuck with it. Yeah, well, once you fuck with it, you're fine. The iron boots aren't even a thing, really.
Well, people always harp on the iron boots when really it's a design flaw in the game. It doesn't affect the dungeon to me, the temple.
But what was the swamp dungeon
Woodfall?
In Majora's Mask? Woodfall?
Yeah, the first
Woodfall?
one.
Yeah, the very first one. It was a pain.
Really?
I don't know. I never had a good time dealing with it. I was not really able to successfully get past it. I mean, I did eventually, but it made me not like Majora's Mask as a whole. It killed the experience for me.
That's pretty different. I mean, I've always kind of liked Woodfall. Not like it was a favorite of mine, but I always thought it was probably one of the better of the temples. Of course, I was also the same person that didn't like the Stone Tower Temple, or Great Bay, or Snowhead, or... Okay, I always thought Woodfall was the best of them.
Yeah. No, I mean, I liked most of the other ones later on, but like I said, by the time I got to them, the entire experience was just colored in shit. I was like, ugh, I just need to finish this game. I want to be done with it.
Played Spirit Tracks.
No,
that was a bad decision.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Because it was a Zelda game. It had the name Zelda. It had the word Zelda, and I was like, "Oh yeah, let me check this out." And also we got it for free.
Trivia time. Did you guys know Tingle was supposed to have his own game on the DS when it first came out?
Yeah,
I thought he did.
It did?
Yeah, he has a Japanese-only game, yeah.
Okay,
Tingle's Rubies or whatever.
Yeah, it never came out stateside. I knew that. I didn't care if it came out in Japan or not.
Yeah, it exists. Alright. Juan, you got any more aside from those two?
No, that's it. I mean, unless we can nominate Skyward Sword as a whole.
No.
Yeah, let's do that. Come on.
We can't. An entire game is not a dungeon.
Have you played it?
No, I have not. I don't intend to anytime soon.
Playing it is a puzzle in and of itself.
I've heard the stories. As far as me, I think I would have to go a little further back. A Link to the Past, kind of going in with, I believe what Mana said, water temples are always terrible. The Ice Palace in Link to the Past, there was this one particular puzzle you had to solve. If you've never played Link to the Past, they had this gimmick where you had to hit a crystal ball to raise certain blocks in the floor. And in that dungeon, there's like a crystal ball you have to hit on like the third floor to be able to pass through the fifth floor, or move a block so you can get past it. It was so ridiculously hard. It took me, like, legitimately, as a 12-year-old kid, 6-7 hours to get through. It was so ridiculous that in the Game Boy Advance version of the game, they actually made it easier. One of the few things in a Zelda game they made easier because of how fucking difficult it was.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and lose Zelda nerd cred. I have still never played that game.
Really?
Wow.
Yep, I actually own the 3DS remake. I played it for a half hour and got bored.
I played... Okay, I got to some part of it, and then I started dying, and I quit.
Wow. I feel like an old fogey now.
Do
I
I
know I
like,
played it.
You have?
do I regain I don't know.
Do you
But do I regain points for having played AOL like a dozen times?
Yeah, you gain some resemblance of credibility back. Is it a great game?
I liked Adventure of Link. I'm not gonna lie. It's different, but I like it.
All right.
Fair.
Okay, I can live with that because Adventure of Link is awesome and underrated. And very, very, very difficult, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
And since I'm going old school, because why the hell not, the 6th dungeon in the original Legend of Zelda. If you've played the game, you probably know what it is. If you haven't, one word, Wizrobes.
But there's no set order in the first game, is there?
Set order as in what?
As in the order of dungeons you have to go through.
Well, they're all numbered, so...
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But no, you can pretty much play the game in any order you want, which is probably one of the favorite things about it to me, is that it is completely non-linear, almost to an absurd degree.
Yeah. Absurd is right.
Yeah, I mean, I've played that game so many times, I can enter the first dungeon with the first sword upgrade after the wooden sword, the blue mail, 7 hearts, and God knows what else. Yeah, I'm a fucking nerd, I admit.
Yeah, I tried playing that. Survived 15 minutes. I died a lot, and then I was like, no thanks.
You're a big quitter, Missy.
I believe the word you're looking for is scrub.
I believe the word... I think the word you're looking for is being head-fed by later Zelda games when older ones gave you jack shit in terms of help.
No, it wasn't even that. It was like, if you swing a sword in, like, Twilight Princess, you kind of go towards the direction, like, you can Z-target and stuff like that. But, like, in older games, you actually have to face the monster to hit the monster.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh my god.
Yeah, Zelda games have really held your hand for a lot of stuff in since 1998 with Navi and the Z-targeting, which makes the games a little better in some regards, but I do miss the more difficult, older games. I'm a bitter old man, damn it.
That's my title.
Well, yeah, I guess it is, isn't it? I'm the bearded old bitter man.
Whatevs, dude.
Have you seen the beard?
I mean, yeah, but that doesn't excuse the other two.
Good point. I'm just a bearded man. My words are wise. My face is beard.
Alright. Now, I'll be honest. I have not not listened to any part of the dramatic post readings you guys have done in the past.
Oh boy.
Be prepared for a surprise.
I kind of skipped those parts in the podcast.
Yeah,
so...
I think you are going to be greatly surprised or disappointed.
Probably disappointed.
Maybe.
Oh, come on.
I will recommend the one I uploaded on YouTube as separate. You must listen to, just for the absurdity. But that is a good segue into the final part of this podcast, the dramatic post readings. Livi, do you have one to read?
I do.
All right. Well, give us a context and whatnot, where it is and who you're reading for.
Okay. Context is in the Clocktown Grand Public Library, and things are happening. and this happened... Okay, this post was made last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Who are you reading as?
I am reading as Bryar.
Okay.
Should I start reading?
Whenever you're ready.
Bryar's eyes twinkled. His favorite kinds of people were those that seemed to know how to have a good time. The Archon, as he was called, didn't seem to. All he cared for was death, and little cared for was being troubled and terribly boring young man. Kira was a bit too energetic, and a new one called Blair had a little air of death around her. That just didn't seem to be a happy medium, did there? That was all right. However, for Bryar accepted all as friends and didn't like the judge so long as no one liked him. Rising to his feet, Bryar replied with a nod. As a matter of fact, I am. You may call me Samuel Blackthorn, sir. And if all goes well, I'm going to be mayor of this town. I just admit I'm a little rusty from a backwater little village in West Falls, you see. We do things differently there. If I'm going to do this correctly and not look like a joke, I need a little spit and polish on my skills. He held a hand to his face, blowing casually on his nails. If there was one thing he could do right, it was acting as though he knew what he was talking about. That hand was then waved at the librarian man, the thief giggling. If you have any sort of idea where to find such a book, tell me such things. I'll be forever in your debt. He then turned his attention to Kira and Blair. And what of you two? I hate to bore you by having you watch me read a book. Surely we can find something exciting for such a dear friend and such a wonderfully exciting new companion.
I approve.
That was awful.
Hey, you haven't heard yet. Okay. All right, and I am reading a post in the topic Retracing Your Steps that was made in the forum, the East District of Clocktown. Hey, it's all in the Clocktown. What a coincidence. Now, the context here, well, I should also point out that this is a NSFW topic, so little kiddies, don't read this until you're old enough to know what's going on. But certain things happen.
Wait, is this the Fide post?
No, this is an ARC post.
Darn.
Yes.
Flame Aspen.
This is an ARC Silverstone post. Things have happened. Things have happened, and I believe bathing is going on. And I will read now. Narrowing his gaze into a fit to show the thin pupils floating in the sea of grain, he stared at her for a good long moment when she glowered at him in turn. At least I've been honest with you, Danny. I could have had you have somehow roped me into staying around and scrubbing your grand butt. Art cupped his hands into the water to wash down her back before rising up and grabbing a towel to bind around his waist. I hate wonderful relationships. Too muddled, too constricting, too finicky, and there ain't anybody that has managed to hold my interest long enough in the ways of committing to one partner. Friends I'll stick around for, romances no. Wrinkling his nose before glancing back to her, he shook his head. It'd have to be a damn grand lass to get me to sit idle and patient. Perhaps he was more like his father than he thought. It wasn't like the old man had anyone he settled down with. But I get what you mean. Not to say I'm experienced with that sort of plight. Obviously you have. I certainly hope you ain't looking for a settle down with me any time, 'cause I'm happy to suit your friend, or a fuck buddy when it fits. Tossing the rag at her so it would plop on her head, he smirked listening to the woman go on to answer his question. At first it sounded harmless before he found himself frowning rather extensively and thought, "On life that you got about mention it," lifting a finger up to waggle in tune to his own mingling thoughts. A grin crossed his face unlike any other, one of a predatory fashion. I've got a couple of dickbags that could use some serious roughing up. I think you might be a grand fit for make them pay, Denali. With just the looks on at that don't fuck with me attitude. Crossing his arms across the brawn of his chest, Art chuckled. Yeah, if you're willing to work for me in a bit, for a bit even, I'll pay you to take out a couple of airbrain pirates in post.
I'm so sorry. That was horrible.
Hey, at least my Irish accent actually sounded somewhat Irish. Even if it was stereotypes, even if it was bad. Oh boy.
Oh my God. Halfway through, I had to mute my mic.
I think everyone had to mute their mic at one point. I think I started sounding like the Lucky Charms guy near the end there. I'm not sure. They always have to be Lucky Charms. At least I didn't crack. You didn't get me to crack,
true.
Mana.
I wasn't even near my mic. I paused it and I walked away because I was laughing too hard.
Oh boy. On that, as usually, silly note, that ends our podcast for the week. I would like to thank Mana, Satsuriku, and Livi for joining me. Thank you. Goodbye.